Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. Wanna go over the huge Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay update. Multiplayer has been confirmed for the game, and it's been confirmed that the game will be seeing DLC, and free DLC at that. But I think some people are getting it twisted and thinking that all of the DLC is going to be free. You have to look at the verbiage CD Projekt Red used on Twitter, and I'll be assessing that and give you guys the update. Also, Cube World is taking the world by storm at this point after its most recent announcement. It is coming to PC with its official release, and it is seeing a release on Steam, so this is pretty exciting. Not a game that's necessarily up my alley, but I did want to give that a mention. And going back to PC hardware deals, I've been seeing in the comment section you guys really wanted me to mention more of them, and I will be, and I'll be parlaying this into dedicated videos pretty soon. But I do want to go over a great pre-built PC deal, a great pre-built gaming PC that is super cheap on that, and then a pretty good deal on 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is generally pretty expensive, but Best Buy has got the hookup at a pretty great price. Alright, first up, let's go over all of the information about a CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk 2077, which we are inching closer and closer to the release. It's what, a little over 7 months away at this point. April 2020 is the release day, and CDPR put out a tweet saying, until now, the only thing we said about multiplayer was that it was in research and development. As we're getting closer to launching single-player Cyberpunk 2077 in April 2020, we'd like to confirm that multiplayer is in the works. If you feel like lending us your skills, apply, and they leave a link where if you do want to apply and help out the team, and if you're credentialed, of course, you can do that. But I think the follow-up tweet is a little bit more interesting because they also noted the plan for now is to deliver Cyberpunk 2077 in April, then follow up with DLCs that are free and single-player content, and once we're done, invite you for some multiplayer action. So right now, the game plan is Cyberpunk 2077 in April 2020. Months thereafter, we're going to be getting content updates and DLC released, and then we're going to be getting multiplayer. So kind of a good way to do the release, in my opinion. Everybody wants a CDPR game for the single-player campaign. That is the imperative notion going into one of these games. You don't want to make multiplayer an integral part of the promotion. You want to release that as an add-on, hopefully a free add-on, where if it turns out great, that's an incredibly pleasant surprise, and that's another addition to the overall Cyberpunk 2077 experience. And if it is a little bit lukewarm, hey, no damage done. We got that single-player. We got our $60 worth. We can move on and we can play the next game, but multiplayer being added into it is obviously going to add a level of longevity. And I think that CDPR's idea with the release of Cyberpunk 2077, they want to have a little bit of longevity attached, because here's what you do from a CD Projekt Red standpoint. At least my thinking is you release the game on PC, then you release all of the DLC content, whether it be free or whether it be paid, and then you release multiplayer, and then after all of that, you release Cyberpunk 2077, the complete edition for everyone that didn't check out the game. You release the game on PlayStation 5 and next Xbox, because I do think this game, technically speaking, is going to be a little bit limited on current gen platforms. On PC, obviously, that's not going to be a deal at all. But on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, especially the base variants of those consoles, I really do have a hard time seeing how this game is going to be running optimally. But nonetheless, they're pretty good at optimizing games. Hell, they're getting The Witcher 3 running on the Nintendo Switch. So I won't doubt CDPR, but again, it's going to be a limited experience. I think it goes without saying on that. So a next generation version, I think, will happen sooner rather than later after those consoles are released in late 2020. Also, as far as the free DLC goes, you do have to assess the fact that they completely separate that they want to follow up the release with DLCs, those being noted free, and then separately it's noted single player content. So I imagine that single player content is going to be paid for content. That's not necessarily a completely bad thing. I mean, The Witcher 3 got some paid DLC, and that paid DLC was incredibly good. Hearts of Stone was $9.99, absolutely worth $9.99, and then Blood and Wine was $19.99, and it was worth $19.99. All of that content was included in the complete edition. I think that version released at $50, but now you can regularly get it on sale for like $15. I imagine that's what's gonna happen with Cyberpunk 2077. Hey, we just got that statistic that The Witcher 3 is selling better this year than it did last year, and if you can parlay that kind of business strategy with the release of Cyberpunk 2077, you know, keep it being a game that people are picking up all the time, maybe even buying multiple times like what Rockstar does. From a business standpoint, that seems to make a lot of sense, so that's my 2 cents on that. But it is getting free DLC, it is getting multiplayer, and I do imagine it's gonna be getting some paid single-player DLC based on the verbiage that they're using and the specific specific wording they used. Alright, moving on from that, it has been announced that Cube World will be coming in its official state and it will be released on Steam. The Steam page is actually up right now. Now, this isn't a game that is completely up my alley. The voxel games never have really been my cup of tea. I played a little bit of Dragon Quest Builders and I did actually quite enjoy that. However, Cube World is a voxel-based action RPG with a focus on exploration in an open world. It takes place in a procedurally generated fantasy world made up entirely of cubes. A lot of details already posted on the Steam page and a lot of insight. You've got system requirements as well. I'll go through that rather quickly. Minimum requirement, you're looking at an AMD FX 6300 at 3.8 GHz or a Ryzen 3 1200 or an Intel Core i5 2400 at 3.1 GHz. Minimum RAM requirement is 2 GB. Minimum GPU AMD R9 285 or a GTX 660, which I believe the 285 is considerably better than the 660, so figure that one out. And then storage space, it is noting 500 megabytes. As far as recommended requirements go, recommended CPU is an AMD FX 8350 at 4 GHz, Ryzen 5 1400 or an Intel i7 3770 at 3.5 GHz or better. 4 GB of recommended RAM and then an R9 290 or a GTX 970. Now, those are actually a little bit more in line with one another. As far as the minimum GPU goes, yeah, 285 is considerably better from the 660 if my recollection is correct. So that's a little bit of a strange one. It's gonna have partial controller support from the get-go, and I do believe it's slated to be released later in 2019. I think the rumored release window is October. Yeah, so it was noted around the end of September, October. We'll see if that sticks, but I imagine it will be coming to fruition. A long road for Cube World. It's been around for quite a while, went missing for a little bit, then it randomly comes back with updates, and now it's seeing its full release, so that's pretty exciting. Again, not really my cup of tea, but I know a lot of you guys are gonna be all over that, so I did want to give that a mention. Okay, moving on from that, I do want to highlight two great PC hardware deals available right now. First up, we do have a great deal on a pre-built gaming PC, which I've always been on board with pre-built gaming PCs ever since all that stuff with GPU prices being hiked up. GPU prices obviously have come down at this point, but pre-built computers still offer a really good value. My PC that I'm running right now actually started off as a pre-built computer. I got it when GPU prices were just crazy and I ended up getting a 1080 machine with an i7 for a little over $1,000, which at that point was pretty ridiculous given that a 1080 was going for ridiculous prices. But nonetheless, I made out like a bandit on that, and obviously I've modified it since then, and it's been a great starting point. I would recommend you to build your PC just so you know the ins and outs, and that's just a good skill trait to have. But nonetheless, if you do want to go the pre-built route, it's a good option because you do get a Windows key right away, and the components you get for your price are very good. Back in the day, the issue with pre-built computers is that they would gimp out on a lot of stuff and it was overpriced, but now, since a lot of people kind of just know about PC hardware, the pre-built computers have to be a quality value, and that's what we see over on Amazon. The Dell Inspiron gaming PC desktop with an AMD Ryzen 7 2700, 16 gigabytes of RAM, a 1 terabyte hard drive, no SSD, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but given the price, I think it's fine. An AMD Radeon RX 580, 4 gigabyte, and Windows 10 on there as well. All of that for $580. Now, could you build a PC with the similar components for around the same price? Probably, but if you throw in Windows 10 and that being, $80 to $100, I know you can get it cheaper, but let's say you buy a legit copy for $80 to $100. I mean, hitting a $580 price point with all of that hardware, you could probably do it. You're probably gonna have to look for a lot of sales, and I know that there's some of you guys that don't want to build a PC altogether and you do want to pre-build. They are very good options even to this day as long as you get a good deal on one, and this is definitely a good deal. Sometimes they are a little bit overpriced on Best Buy and Walmart and whatever the case may be. I know the Walmart pre-builts are absolutely insane sometimes, but this one, the Dell Inspiron for $580, I would say it's a really good buy. As far as performance that you're gonna get, at 1080p, it's gonna be really solid. The 580 is a quality GPU for 1080p gaming. Anything more than that, it is gonna see some limitations at higher end games, even at 1440p. If you're playing top tier games, it's gonna show its limitations. However, at 1080p, it's gonna perform rather well, and again, a Ryzen 7 2700 being in there as well, that's a high quality CPU. 16 gigabytes of RAM is becoming more and more of a necessity, and a terabyte of hard drive space, that's something to get you going for the interim, but I would recommend you to either upgrade the hard drive or add an SSD, something to that effect. So I'll leave a link to that in the description box down below. I don't know how long this deal is going to be lasting, so try to pick it up as soon as possible if you're interested. And lastly, Best Buy has got the Corsair Vengeance LPX series, 16 gigabytes of RAM, two 8 gigabyte sticks. That is DDR4 memory. It is down to $65. That's $15 off of its regular price, up to 3000 megahertz on this one. 16 gigabytes of RAM, as I mentioned, with the pre-built computer is becoming more and more of a necessity with higher end games. You can definitely get by with 8 gigabytes of RAM. I'm not saying that you have to go out right now and upgrade to 16 gigabytes or buy 16 gigabytes for a budget and build. However, if you do have the means to have 16 gigabytes in your machine, it will end up paying dividends in the future, especially as we head into these newer games, next generation titles. It's going to become something at the very least is going to offer you better performance and going to pay dividends in performance with a lot of these upcoming games, but you'll see 8 gigabytes does perform decently with a lot of the games coming out still to this day, but 16 gigabytes is becoming more and more effective, and for $65, I would say that's a pretty good deal. I'll leave links to both of those deals in the description box below. With the Amazon deal, I'll put my Amazon referral so I get a little bit of a kickback. Just want to make that as transparent to you guys as possible. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, CD Projekt Red has big plans for Cyberpunk 2077 free DLC. I think we're getting paid DLC based on the wording, and multiplayer will be happening as well, but it all kicks off in April 2020 with the base game release, and that is going to be single player only, of course. Cube World is coming to Steam either later in September or early October, so a lot of reason to be excited for that, not from a personal standpoint, but I know you guys are super into that. Dell Inspiron RX 580 and Ryzen 7 2700 pre-built PC 580 for that is really good, and 16 gigabytes of RAM for $65, a good deal on that as well. That's going to conclude this video. If you guys have a request for a future video, especially with the return of hardware coverage, if you guys have any budget builds you would like to see, hit me with it either in the comments section or you can shoot me a message on Twitter, whatever the case may be. That's gonna wrap up this one, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.